Hello everyone, we are back and here to react to RWBY Vol.9, Chapter 7, right? 6 was the last one. Now we're into 7.
We're down to the last few chapters before the end of this volume.
So I think we're 10 episodes. So we have this one and 8, 9, 10. So 3 after this one.
Mm-hmm.
And last episode was...
Jean's arc was very short.
Yeah, Jean's arc, he keeps getting these...
It's like...
He has like a long arc and a short arc.
I feel like there's going to be more that's revealed as time goes on.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like there's going to be a lot more. I'm a little sad that Jean didn't get as, like... He's had, what, 20, 30
He has 20 years of story that we need to kind of...
a little bit.
We need to know what he did, how he survived. Like, I don't need every single year. I just need to know how he got better at, like, what his life.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I do feel like Jean is going to be the one, and this is a weird idea, that's going to pull RWBY out of her state.
Jean might be the one that does that. It must make sense considering he's the one that's got now years of experience.
I feel like it's one of those things where he's going to be like, not everyone's good. Not everyone can be saved. I'm like, Alex wasn't who I thought she was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
All this stuff has happened. This world is rough and terrible on me. But I'm still pushing forward.
Yeah.
And you used to be like that.
In fact, you might
used to be like, you know...
This is the thing that I think...
This really inspiring person.
RWBY needs to be reminded of the people she's inspired.
RWBY, he picks her up, remember who you are.
But, so, fun fact. So, interesting little detail. When Jean picks up the Clockwork Orange that reverses time, and...
That was an Easter egg I did not notice.
You can actually see the meteorites of RWBY, Weiss, Blake, and Yang going back up into the... So he saw them fall backwards in time, so he knows that they're going to land eventually. So he had that... I mean, again, he probably figured that out as well already, but that's a cool little detail. We also have... We also have RWBY still struggling with the coming to terms with rejecting something, like just I guess the weight of the world and the weight of responsibility that she just.
The fairy tales aren't quite what she thought they were.
That
is a good parallel. She did grow up with all these fairy tale stories, and now she finds out the actual fairy tale is a lie.
Like the maidens,
the actual fairy tale is different from the one she was told. The maidens are different.
Salem and Ozpin, the girl in the tower.
Heroes are different. The being a huntress is far different than the tales she remembers. And again, now she has to decide what kind of huntress she's going to be.
We have to remember
to be one.
Atlas was yesterday. Like, everything that just happened with Penny, Atlas, all of that, that was yesterday.
Even though it's been, like, years
for us. It's been years for us. So we've had, like... But RWBY literally just had that experience. And it's still been a day in the Ever After. We just met Jean. We just discovered the Jabberwocker. We just figured out this Ever After stuff. Met the Prince, met the Queen, all that. The Alex is not the real Alex. There's a whole new layer of lore to the
It's like, that was yesterday, except for Jean.
Except for Jean. No, Jean had like 2,000 yesterdays. But so because I just realized this. So again, the Atlas was yesterday, which means RWBY encountered Salem, like Salem's spirit, Salem's projection, like a couple of days ago. What?
This is really weird, but what if someone picked up the fruit, went back in time, and then stopped Jean from picking up the fruit?
And then there's a weird... I feel like, again, I think this is all, like, it's a fixed point in time. Because Jean is the Rusted Knight. I think he's a fixed point in time now.
We're going Doctor Who
which basically could, like, again, if the theory that Ozpin was Lewis, like one of the two kids that fell with Alex. Now this is, again, I don't know if we talked about this because it's been a while, but we talked about like what if I just had a theory though, realization. What if Lewis, who could be Ozpin, but what if Lewis went back in time and wrote the story, but Alex went forward in time and
became Neo.
So weirdly enough, that could mean Neo and Ozpin are siblings. But
they find out that Ozpin and Oscar is just like Alex.
Yeah, the reason I believe that this is, oh my gosh, yeah, Neo meets like Oscar.
It's your brother.
But no, the reason I believe that or Alex has some connection to Neo. There's just too many layers to why they're paralleling her with Neo. But the reason I think Ozpin definitely has some story in the Ever After is because even though it would be interesting if he doesn't have any experience, like this is all Alex's story, but the reason I think he has something to do with this is because it could explain why Jean was allowed into Beacon. Like Ozpin knew.
Hey, it's the Rusted Knight. Time to train him up.
Gotta get you prepared.
We gotta send you Ever After so you can have 20 years of awful experience to have even a glimpse at what my life has been like.
And also, that could, oh my gosh, that means, well, that would mean definitely something terrible is going to happen to Jean, so potentially terrible, like, Ozpin would have future knowledge and past knowledge. There's just so many layers. Like, again, this is all theories. We do not have any confirmation that, like, Lewis could just be some dude.
We need to play the episode
yes.
So we can get to the next episode, so we can get to the final episode, so we can have the story resolved.
But the other thing is, we finally got two people who've been watching for years. Yeah, we got Bumblebee together, which it's one of those things where I think for me, I have been like, I've read stories, I've read fics, I've seen art and everything, and it's so weird to see it officially done that it's like, it still is almost unbelievable because it's like, I never thought I would see it in a weird way. Like, I never thought I would see it officially. So when to see it done officially, it's like, oh, this is what it feels like. This is what it's like to be real.
I still feel some of the, not really, I wouldn't say rushed, but was it too blunt, the whole like I love you in love? Like there's a little, but it is a story.
Yeah.
And to be fair,
I will say
it was done in a fairy tale land, so I'll let it pass.
I will also say it does feel, it is one of those things where it's like, again, it's people saying like the Ever Afters, you know, saying just get it over, like forcing, not really forcing, but like just saying, hey, like say it.
Crossroads. You can either wait for the storm to pass and go about as you've been normally, or you can weather the storm and get to a shiny rainbow.
Just, you know, yeah, get.
I just realized that I said shiny
rainbow.
You
did. I know, it was like, it was perfect. That was perfect.
That wasn't the intention, but hey.
But, and I will say, again, it was honestly, I know this sounds so weird, but, and I know, and I'm a little biased, and I don't read, I mean, I've read fics, but I don't, like, read romance novels, I don't, like, go to romance movies all the time, like, I've seen some, but it's not my go-to thing. But weirdly enough, and again, this is pretty just simply because of attachment to these characters, that was one of the best written confessions of love I've ever experienced in media. Because it wasn't in the heat of the moment, it was a genuine get it out of your system. It was this is in my heart and I want to say it, so say it. And they finally did. And it's also another thing is that it's not at the end of a show. It is, we're going to see what these two are going to be like as a couple for a while after this. So that's going to be also nice.
It'll be interesting to see how they write them like that, because sometimes you can get stories where they do that, and then the writing for them after this gets a little bad. They like use it, and I really hope they don't do that.
To be fair, again, I feel like it's not going to change much between them. They're just going to be more, not lovey-dovey, but more, you know, there's going to be more romantic openness between them now, which is going to be fun.
We will have to find out in the episode because
Yes.
we're how many minutes into our beginning?
Well, we got a lot. There's a lot.
There was a lot.
There was a lot to cover and figure out because last episode was such a
visual
wild episode.
That thing was.
Yang
and Blake was very beautiful.
The
very pretty.
Visualization, everything. Yeah.
So.
But yeah, now we are to figure out what is going on with
Ruby and
with
Kristen
Ruby.
Rose.
Yep. And
I'm really
John, like more John. And do you think will we ever see the cat again? We need to see the cat again.
I'm really sad we didn't get to have a Ruby actualization moment where she decides to stand up and be a huntress and then holds her hand up and Kristen Rose falls from the sky.
Oh, that would have
I was really hoping for something like that.
That would have been
I
pretty cool.
do think we got this projection of Crescent Rose is going to be.
This is going to be. I think this is going to be interesting because again, it's going to be
her reforge a weapon.
She's gonna.
Smith is not out of this. I'm willing to.
In fact,
that Smith is going to come back and she's going to reforge Crescent Rose into her new version because she didn't really get much of an upgrade with it. Last time, right?
Everybody else has gotten upgrades except Crescent Rose, which I can understand. They don't want to probably like both. Ruby it's like perfect for her already, but I also kind of understand it's like we can't really change the main weapons much. I
don't want to go into a side tangent, but here's my thoughts on it. I think how Crow and who else Adam had those red blades.
Mm-hmm.
I think Ruby's going to get potentially either a red blade or a green blade.
I think it could be cool if she combines the penny blade with hers, and which would be very Christmassy.
What if she also combines like Penny's like sword cables and such, and can like sling out Crescent Rose and pull it back like Blake? I
she's
think
boomeranged Crescent Rose before.
I think it would be cool if she somehow got an upgrade for Crescent Rose that was inspired by every single teammate and Penny. So it was like maybe had a shotgun version, like Yang. It had
it's
like
fun
cables,
that again
like Penny, but also like Blake. So
I like how you bring that up, but I would definitely I've had the idea of what if Ruby was one character like fused into one, and what if Crescent Rose was all of their weapon, like the maintenance and the shotguns on the sides and the Blake's gamble shroud.
Even if this doesn't actually happen, I want to see like almost art of this. I want to see a Ruby where she kind of does what's her name with rabbit ears from way back? Velvet, where Crescent Rose can actually break apart into different weapons and gear, and so she augments her.
Oh, it'd be like almost like the Cloudbuster sword.
She augments her unarmed attacks to be like kind of like Yang. She augments.
That would be.
She can sling it out. She can do shotgun stuff. She can.
I feel in a weird way that would take away from the other girls.
I know it,
but it would definitely be cool to see Ruby having learning different styles because yes, Ruby still needs to learn to fight without her weapon.
Yeah, I think,
and
it would be just really cool to see her kind of like take it not as she takes away from their style, but she learns from them, gets inspired. Makes her weapon to cover those weaknesses of hers based on watching our teammates.
Yeah.
And that would be pretty cool. Also, I wonder what's going to happen to John. Anyway, we've got to get to the episode.
We will. But there's... there is a theory that just returned to my brain. And this comes back from Volume 2.
Oh, what's that?
I'm going to explain it if it becomes real.
Okay.
But I'm going to just state this now that if this happens, I called it. And I called it, somehow, in my freaking brain, called it
10-ish years ago.
8 years ago, I somehow called this. But it's not going to happen. But it might. But I'm going to be that one person that probably called this. Anyway. Are you ready? You've been ready. I'm ready now.
Let's do it. Let's get to the episode.
Let's begin. Ooh. That's Oh, somebody's lighting the whole sun. That's gonna be uncomfortable.
They've had worse conditions to rest in.
True. Did you not sleep, girl?
I'm late.
Dude, late? Late?
He's got a schedule.
What?
What was that? All the excitement, teacher. Together you can fix it. You always fix it.
John!
Wait!
Wait, I'm late! I need some...
Oh, he's late! He's late! There's the white rabbit! Late!
Damn it. Right on time. Get to town. I'll meet you there.
I'm never this upset when I oversleep.
What did he mean right on time? I'm sure we'll find out when we get down there. Ruby, where's your weapon?
Oh, sorry. Still waking up. Hurry! People are counting on us.
People. Well, paper people.
You know, lighting the sun is a very dangerous
Oh, koi fish.
Count out of paper.
place for this.
Hello. Welcome to our village. We hope that it pleases you. Would you be so kind as to tell us what you are so that we may serve you? Serve us? Your town is on fire! Oh, no, we are quite safe. We have our hero.
You have to do this every day, John?
Hooray!
Great.
Cheers for the rusty knight and his white rabbit.
Stop! Back up! There's water everywhere. You'll dissolve.
Hello, water. How may I serve you?
Oh my.
That. I can't believe that almost happened. It's been ages since I missed the first fire.
It's the first flame.
Happen often?
Oh, every day.
What?
Right, I guess.
Got some explaining to do.
These are the paper pleasers. They're probably the most polite, most hospitable afterns around.
Aww.
Because that's their purpose.
What? It's not grape juice.
When Alex left me to die, Juniper found help. Brought me to the paper pleasers, who got me back on my feet. They work all day, not just serving travelers, but serving the land they live on too. They beautify it, make it a place of peace. Unfortunately, they're a bit clumsy, but that also makes them predictable. I told you to hold these.
Thank you, Brave Knight.
Classic rabbit.
You named them? After your teammates?
Oh.
No, I named them after everybody.
Hello, I am the one called Ruby. What is you?
Hate that.
Okay.
He's... Okay, I don't blame him, but at the same time, yeah. That's a bit weird.
Before the calming Pebble Tower crumbles, crushing the Koi Pond Dam, and flooding the entire village, so I'm thinking... Quick brunch?
I agree.
My life's work. Over the years, Juniper and I have been systematically exploring as many of the nearby acres as possible. If you think you've seen it all here, let me tell you, you haven't.
Is it tasty?
What exactly have you been looking for?
Anyone or anything that might be able to take us back home.
Okay,
But-
and what have you found?
Nothing.
But so far, I mean, not much, but I've got a really good feeling about this 1 acre we saw with a bunch of pyramids.
Sorry, I'm just trying to make sure I follow. Do you have any leads at all? Any other plans?
This is the plan. Look, I'm sorry I didn't solve all our problems by myself, but I can't just run off and let them die.
But they don't die, right? They've been here for years before you.
Searching for an exit. We've got a really tight schedule to keep. Or rather, you've got a tight schedule to keep.
I beg your pardon?
This is the schedule of catastrophes that befall the village every day. Or at least they would if it wasn't for me and June. This
Okay, I gotta read all these.
no problem, which means I can go out to keep searching without any
Stop the
harm.
bandits.
Like you
Juniper's
lost?
speed and my familiarity with this place will find our solution in no time.
So he's gonna go traveling while you guys take care of home.
This is it. Look, if there's one thing I've learned after all these years, it's that patience pays off. That's why we're finally back together. I know I can find us a way out, okay? I know it. I know it! This isn't crazy. I'm not crazy. This isn't crazy, it's easy. You know, we still got time before the Pebble Tower falls. How about I saddle up Juniper and show you around myself? Point out some of the clumsier papers. Just wait till you guys meet Neptune.
Damn it, John. This isn't a plan, it's a to-do list. He's obviously been through a lot. Yeah. We can be frustrated later. Right now, Jean needs us. And we still need him. We just can't count on him.
Then who does that leave us with? It's obvious we need someone to guide us, or we could end up thrown back in time, or killed by the tree, or worse. Well, if that's how
The
everybody...
great tree does not kill. That is what we keep trying to tell him. But our hero still insists that we never ascend.
What?
I do not wish to be rude, but our work has been completed for quite some time. Because of us, the land is beautiful, but we have realized that, like ourselves, it is also very delicate. We would like to make something that is pleasing, but also resilient. Because of this, we are ready to leave ourselves and merge with the tree, so that it might return us as something new. But our hero is displeased by this course of action. We tried reaching out to the tree, but our hero forbade it. Then the wisest of our village suggested breaking from our physical forms so that the winds may carry us back to the tree. But our hero is clever and brave, always keeping us from harm. You must understand, the tree does not kill, it resurrects and rebuilds. We do not wish to displease our hero, and I hope I have not displeased you, but
Sean can't
we
let
so
go.
desperately wish to return to the tree, to return home, so that we may carry on with our work.
He lives in a paper world.
Oh, do not be sad. The wisest are going to topple the Pebble Tower today. I am sure it will work this time.
What makes you so sure?
Nothing.
So wait, they've been trying to escape this
So
whole time.
sad. Weird, but sad. But it also means Jean might not be totally right about the tree.
Yeah.
It's not death, it's rebirth. From a certain perspective, maybe. But what happened to Louis then? Jean said Jean wasn't there.
Yeah, Jean wasn't there.
The cat wasn't even there. None of us know the full story and will never learn anything of babysitting these villagers. We have to convince Jean to let them go. But how? He's
We might have to fight
not
Jean.
all there.
Except he's here,
Is
right?
that what you think?
But what if the cow is telling the truth? Maybe not about everything, but about the tree.
The tree's the last thing you should listen to them about. They're just doing what they're designed to do. They don't care what happens when you get there.
We're not listening to them. We're listening to the Afterins. And they're telling us that the tree is nothing to be afraid of. That they want to go.
They don't know what they want. You've seen the way they act. Nothing here is that straightforward, okay? Afterins are all either too clever, too stupid, or too crazy to trust.
Then why do you care so much about this village?
Because I can actually protect these people!
He's late again.
Is it the pebbles? Or is that something else? Neo.
That's new. for his kid.
Oh no, they're gonna die because
He wouldn't let him go.
the Juniper Walker can actually kill these
Don't let
things.
them down.
If those walkers make it down here, those Afterins will never ascend.
Then Neo actually can copy them.
Potentially. We still don't actually know that.
Ooh! That's when you roll a nat 20 on his grapple escape. Where's Ruby?
He isn't helping.
Yeah, no, Ruby's. Ooh. Oh, nice. Is that the original? Nope, that's another claw.
Oh no.
That was actually Neo. Oh, or another Neo clone. Dang,
The
she's...
walkers from the market. But those were more than just her usual tricks.
Yep.
They eat and grow, and how has she gotten so powerful?
Well, she didn't do it by standing around. I know that you may not care about protecting this village, but you could at least help your friends when they're in danger.
Ruby? Are you okay?
No, what time is it? No! No!
Oh, Sean.
I couldn't save them. I was supposed to save them. And they're dead.
No, John. They're gone. But they're not dead. They'll be back. Yeah, it's what they wanted. Right, Ruby? Why are you asking me? Because I'm the leader. Because I'm just supposed to have something to say. Because I don't. I mean, why do I have to be the leader anyway? Why do I have to always be the one to pick people up? What about me? No time, right? Gotta get home. Gotta help Jean. Gotta find someone who isn't just going to screw everything up. Gotta stay positive, right? Smiles all around. Maybe even finally get our feelings sorted out. Good for you, by the way. We're all so happy for you. Hey, I'm sorry. Is this a bad time? Are we supposed to be mourning Jean's make-believe friends?
They're gone because of you. The walkers came for you because Neo hates you. Oh, and let's not forget the reason we're in the Ever After in the first place is because of your plan that didn't work. What about you? It's all about you.
John.
I'm sorry, I know I'm not okay. I'm not right, but how am I supposed to be? I've been alone for so long. Here, on that bridge, I was the only one that could do it. I was the only one! And now I have to live with that forever. In here or back home.
Guys, I know things are bad, but shut up.
Whoa.
Don't do that. Just don't.
Oh, she's gone. Wow.
Ruby no longer has any answers, and Jean.
They're not like leaderless, but dang, like, I mean, I don't know what it's like. It was worse and not as bad as I was expecting. I think it was just worse because I never expected her to be so
Cold?
not really cold, more just
blunt. No.
No. What's the word? It's like it's not vinegar. It's it's a V word.
Venomous.
Venomous? Yeah, I guess. That's like no. It's. Oh, I know there's a word, but it's basically like she was very vindictive. No, she just. It was.
Actually, I kind of want to. When was the last time Ruby actually got? I want to say like a pep talk, or was helped by someone else when she
Honestly?
was low. Because I'm trying to remember. Because I know it
feel
happened
like-
a little bit early in the volumes,
I think it was Ozpin,
but I
way back when, and I think it might have been
Crow. maybe?
Yeah,
And-
they've all definitely like given her bits of advice, but she's never like, shall we say, needed it. And this wasn't even like she doesn't like. It's one of those things where she's just, it's hitting her like she doesn't. The responsibility has been on her now, and now she's like, why? It wasn't even like a bad. It wasn't even like a bad question, like what, like because it was Weiss that asked, like it's like, hey, right, Ruby, like she was asking for encouragement, but Ruby like just took it as another pile on her list of things that she has to. It was just, it set her off, and
I kind of like that Ruby, or like that in this volume, Ruby's kind of facing all of her decisions in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she's always had a plan or a
Mm-hmm.
goal,
now she has.
and now all those goals have slowly turned into they don't work.
And
and culminated in this, and now she's basically going, do any of my decisions work? Or,
Yeah.
why does everyone turn to me? Why did Ozpin pick me?
Yeah.
All this stuff, which
like,
she had a little bit of that like leader problem in the earlier.
yeah, but that was when she was
But that was
arguably.
that was more getting into connection with her teammates, not getting into connection with herself.
That was more of like she was in the, shall we say, silly, immature phase. And she kind of came to this realization that, oh yeah, I do need to take responsibility. But then now it's the other end of the stick. Now she's be like, I've been on too much responsibility, and now there's too much of that for me. And I just,
It's
when can I have a break?
all these things are they haven't really had a break in a long while.
Mostly Ruby, because she kept going. After Beacon fell, she immediately went with Jean and them to go find, and they've been having to deal with that. I mean, not to say that. Okay, that's definitely still like saying, okay, we're going to keep going. That is our goal. Ruby never really stopped. Like, Weiss went back home, had to get readjusted back to her old new life, and she hated it, but, it was still like, she didn't have to deal with fighting, she didn't have to deal with like, in a weird way, Salem's attack, like the whole Salem thing, that wasn't the world to them yet. That was just Beacon fell, and now they have to, go to their safety points and everything like that. But maybe Beacon or something, eventually things would get back to get better. Yang lost her arm and was in severe depression and was very downtrodden for a long time. But she was at home. She just had her dad take care of her. She didn't have Ruby there, but
let's see.
And Blake kind of probably did have her own adventure, but she eventually went back home too. She had a break.
Let's see.
Ruby-
Everyone went home, and Ruby went on a quest.
Ruby went on a quest.
Also, Jean and them went on a quest with
Yeah.
her. So,
Yeah.
what was I gonna say?
I kind of,
We've seen Nora snap, basically.
kind of, yeah.
Kind of. We've seen
Ren
Ren
snap.
snap. We've seen
Yeah, exactly.
everyone snap, and now we're finally seeing Ruby and Jean snap.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen Jean snap a few times.
But we've seen him snap, but this is a different. Like, this is him snapping at his friends. This is. It's almost like, again, it's all the. I mean, he's had years, and I gotta. Gosh, that hurt, because it's one of those things where it's like, I feel bad for Jean, but I can't feel bad at the same time, because it's more like he brought this on himself.
Basically, it's him and Ruby have something to get over, which are both different, obviously.
Yeah. If any way, they were trying to commit suicide to be free. Or that's not really suicide, but it's like they were like freedom.
they wanted to go, and
It's like there was
I
that
do
time.
think the analogy of Jean living in a paper world is so fitting with how much he tried to,
How fragile and the cards could
his
collapse.
unwillingness to accept how fragile the world is, and how he wants to be the hero that protects everyone, but you can't always do that.
Yeah.
You can be the hero.
You have to let people
does-
go
It's like,
sometimes.
and I think Ruby is in a similar boat of where he's trying to be the hero that protects everyone, and as now couldn't do it here even in the fairy tale. She has always been that, but now it's failing,
That was
and
the
she doesn't know what kind of person, huntress, hero, or who she's going to be.
That was the other thing. We talked about it again, how like Atlas was yesterday and everything, and all of that. I think Ruby deep down, even though it was like the smallest spark, the smallest like sliver, like a 1% chance, I think she still deep down believed her mother might still be alive. Like her mother was missing, wasn't confirmed dead. And it was until Salem said something and she saw the others, like
the silver-eyed
beast, yeah, that it finally snuffed that out, and she now no longer has that hope of potentially seeing her mother again. And it kind of was again like her mother was on, like, even heck now we could see, like, you know, her mother was an inspiration that gave her silver eye abilities fighting that Leviathan back then, and then now Salem corrupted that memory. It's kind of like the Patronus per se. Like you had your happy memories, and now they've been corrupted. Your one pure thing that you looked back on, and now she doesn't even have that anymore. She's lost that little bit of.
The villains have won the recent battle. They've taken every hope she has of her mother away, and she failed. She fell.
Yep.
And now she's being hunted by Neo.
Yeah. And again, like that, like they're, she went so, it was such like, it just was so like, it was harsh because, yeah, Ruby is literally just, again, she's hit that point where it's just like, and I can't blame her because, yeah, she's at that point, but it's that thing of just like, what, all of you, what about me? And it's just like, this is one of the few times where I can be like, okay, fair, girl, you've been not you for a while.
I do think Jean did bring up a good counterpoint of everything that's happened is because of her,
which
and
is not helping.
That's what she's facing, but she's not willing to.
That's what she believes.
That's what,
I think that's what she's in the same, like you said, with Jean. She can't save everybody. She can't save the day. Like, it's the same kind of.
They both have wanted to be heroes since they were young.
I know.
And both of them have recently failed at that. Here's a neat difference. Yeah. Ruby failed because her plan caused people to die. Her plan lost Atlas, lost the relics, and potentially, in her mind, lost the world. So in a way, her plan doomed everybody. And Jean wants to be the hero, killed an ally, killed a friend, which is something that a hero doesn't do. So he's having to live with that. So they're both failed heroes, and
yeah.
And now
if anything, Jean
figure out what the hero
that's another thing.
Be Jean is, and what it's actually going to take to be that.
Jean and Ruby have both had, shall we say, grander scopes of becoming huntresses or heroes per se. They've had that grand thing, whereas Blake, again, as going back to Ublik's whole thing, but Blake, Yang, and Weiss have had arguably more simpler goals. They haven't thought about the grand scale of everything. They wouldn't want to be like, I don't say they didn't want to be special. It was more like they didn't want to be bigger than they were. They didn't want to like leave their mark on the world per se or something like that. Or it's
their goals
basically
were,
like
their goals were very
RWBY just wanted to be
simple and straightforward.
RWBY's goal was
sort of.
simple, but the scope of it was larger than I think she expected it to be. Same thing with Jean. And again, at the time when they started, everything was very peaceful. Everything was quite.
I really hope Jean finally gets to start being a hero at some point after this volume, just because of the fact that
he needs.
He lied to get into Beacon. Like, I'd watched some stuff with the older volumes, like the first few volumes, and it's like, it made me just think about Jean's story after seeing this. It's like, he lied to get into Beacon, so he felt unworthy about being in Beacon.
Yeah.
He finally overcame that and started to train to get better. And his training wasn't enough to save Pyrrha, or protect Pyrrha.
It wasn't enough to...
It wasn't enough to
beat Cinder.
It wasn't enough. It's never been enough, and he's always been on that failing track. So I hope after he overcomes this, which I hope he does, he understands that he can't save everyone, and that he can still try.
He can still save.
He can still help. He can still work towards that grander goal. But that it means there will be losses, there will be failures, there will be people you cannot save, and there will be people who choose to sacrifice themselves, or at least go into a fight that they know they can't win, like Pyrrha did, and that he can't.
That's something you shouldn't.
People to not risk their lives for the greater good.
I mean, again, they have entered a world where if it's more like, I guess they've entered a world where they risk their lives, but they don't expect others to lose their life. They're there to. Oh gosh, this reminds me of Oh man, that actually, you haven't read that book, but this reminds me of something that happened to Team Coffee. They had a failed mission that
result in death or two?
Several, but it was definitely I can't quite remember how it got, it was definitely something that they had to get over at some point too. This is, I think, one of the things where we weren't sure if Jean was right or wrong. Now I feel like, Jean, I think, is a little crazy. I think Jean kind of put himself into this corner, and he brought this on himself, which is unfortunate. Because
he's going again. He's going to the extreme of what he believes, and now he's going to have to face that. He's going to have to face the reality.
And now, and as they brought it, I'm kind of amazed that it wasn't. Not to say it wasn't explained, but I think it was implied, yes. But I am kind of... It's interesting the restraint they had on not bringing up Penny. I mean, Jean brought it up, but it was more personal to him. RWBY didn't bring it up as an attack on him.
Which actually makes me wonder, did they tell RWBY that Jean did it?
They know. I don't think they did.
I feel like that's something
actually, you're right. They might not have. I think they didn't because, RWBY doesn't need to know that right now, and maybe and them going at each. This is so, again, because it's these are two best friends, and they're really going. And I gotta say, I even that was kind of that tense moment where RWBY's going after. She kind of goes after Blake a little bit, and Blake kind of cowers behind Yang, and Yang is oh, she's about to punch her sister or something. It's dang, that was. I've never. It
does make me feel a little sad that Yang almost has a little less, I want to say, empathy for RWBY than she used to.
I don't think
she used to.
I think she's just in shock that she's never seen RWBY like this. She doesn't know how to respond.
I know. It's just kind of one of those things where Yang has always had this very caring watch over RWBY when RWBY's in stress or something. Really try and take care of RWBY. And now Yang didn't quite have that.
Again,
it wasn't her first response this time.
Because
RWBY is acting in a way that's different.
RWBY's acting like something that Yang has probably not
calm RWBY down or anything like that.
I think it was in defense mode, and RWBY wasn't RWBY. She was. I think it was more like Yang in the ways Yang's thought process of things, of letting it out, get it out of your system or something like that. So it was
she's
this is how Yang deals with things. So she kind of gets what RWBY's doing.
Yang was just she's not holding Crescent Rose. If she punches me, I'll be perfectly fine.
And I was what can RWBY do? But
it's the the senator went up. I mean, Yang standing there while Ruby just punches it super speed. Does nothing.
But yeah, and it's just, and then it's like, and then to see like, you know, Jean and Ruby going at it, and like Ruby is, not to say, I don't want to say like it is. It's just it's unnatural that makes it scary. Because not to say she was scary, but she was a little. It's just the terror behind it of this something you don't. It's that little like catches you off guard. It's not how you normally see this person, and they are acting so understandable because we have more of like this meta information of knowing what Ruby's been going through, but at the same time, so we were prepared for that, whereas they probably didn't. They've been a little preoccupied to focus on Ruby's, and they've said some things because they can only say so much, and Ruby needs to
bring up a little connection.
Help needs to be open to help because they can only do so much. Like Ruby needs to be the other one to pull herself out of this.
To bring up another connection to earlier in this volume, the fact that like Weiss and them were aware of Blake and Yang, but not necessarily aware of Ruby's situation. Like
I think Ruby also wasn't aware of Blake and Yang. She was kind of ignoring. She was kind of focused on something else.
It's not that. It's more that they were aware of the emotional state of these other two, but Ruby's emotional state wasn't necessarily observed by any of them.
Yeah, well, again, like Blake and Yang were focused on themselves and dealing with themselves. Weiss is also dealing with her own issues, which are very recent, as we described. Like Ruby, as I heard somebody say, like Ruby is dealing with something that is way in the past for her, that has been building up all this time. Yang and Blake have been dealing with something that was kind of in the past for them, but is also still very recent. And Weiss is dealing with something that is very recent for her. And Jean is dealing with something that is more or less, it's like he's been holding back, but he's finally gotten validated for his patience. And Ruby is, again, she's dealing with something that is, and I don't even, like that, I think that's the word, is like, she doesn't even feel like remorseful for her, the way for her outburst. Whereas Jean does feel remorseful. Ruby, I don't think does. And honestly, I would say Ruby doesn't really, not to say that Ruby doesn't need to feel remorseful, it's just that Ruby, I think, she's not entirely in the wrong. She's just angry, and that's like something that, you know, like
I do also kind of, it's just a thing for me. I feel like because I don't know yet Ruby's what exactly are the things that are bugging her. It's made this whole like emotional journey for her one of those things where I'm like always trying to figure out what is. Like, we have a whole.
I think
lot
that's
of things
the thing,
that are causing
is that Ruby even doesn't know what it is.
I was gonna say, I think that's part of the thing. Ruby hasn't figured out what are all the things that are pushing her buttons at this point. And I think figuring that out and overcoming that is part of the volume. But the whole thing has just been like, wow, Ruby's personality is like really taken this turn. I'm still trying to figure out, well, one, what all the causes are, and two, what the outcome's going to be.
Yeah, and
because it's one of those things where it's like, I'm really looking forward to seeing what the outcome is, because sometimes these writing characters like this can go, oh, we've had a character that's too Paragon, let's really dive their character like mentality and arc and stuff down this more grittier like situation, and then they don't necessarily always bring them through that well and back, like in this is a character building thing. Sometimes they just do that and then they kind of put them in that state, and it can kind of be a little iffy. I feel
like Ruby is gonna not reunite with her team until the finale. But she might come to some conclusion by the end of this, but
she runs into Lewis. He never left the Ever After.
Or she runs into Neo and gets captured or something.
I feel like she's gonna have to face Neo.
She's gonna have to face like Neo, and again, like Jean even brings up, like Neo is here because of her and all that. But I think it was also just like Neo. It's there's some. We really do need to figure out what's up with Neo in this. Like, what's her deal? And
3 episodes left.
Mhm.
The next one's gonna be focused on Ruby.
Potentially, I really hope. I also want to see if like
And we'll end with Neo and Ruby finding
Blake
each other.
and Yang. I don't think. I feel like what's going to happen is again it's going to probably be like another Punderstorm that like the team Ruby and John are going to be battling Jabberwockers or whatever army in the Punderstorms. You know, we're going to get that kind of thing. But Ruby is going to deal with Neo personally on the bridge.
I would love it if they fight in the Punderstorm and Weiss uses the pit thing as a trick as a Jabberwocker's coming like, this place is the pits!
Yep.
And like disappears and then falls down and stabs the
That would be, that would make so good.
That would be cool to see.
Yeah.
But yeah,
and
it's one of those.
The Jabberwocker also.
So few episodes to get all this like sorted.
Now, actually,
and get back.
Was it the Now I'm curious. Was it the Jabberwocker talking, or was it Neo talking through the Jabberwocker, saying like things to? Because the Jabberwocker like was speaking like it was in pain, like it was trying to. It was trying to fight something, and yeah, I'm curious to see. What's Neo's deal and what she's gonna do? And oh man, there's just so much going on in this.
This is a weird thing to ponder, but what if this whole story where Alex goes back and something happened to Lewis is actually Lewis got to go back and Alex became the Jabberwocker, and Lewis, when he wrote the story, imagined his sister slaying that thing she became as part of the story in the hopes that would.
And I like how they all say like Alex wrote the story. It's like, what if it wasn't Alex that wrote the story? That's why I'm thinking like maybe what if Ozpin wasn't Alex, was not Alex, was a Neo, not Neo, it was Lewis and went back in time, but of course just wrote it as Alex. When Alex thinking, didn't get her brother and it wasn't there.
We'll find this out potentially more in the future episodes.
Again, that's a whole discussion. But
we have the next episode to view. It's one of those things, we've said everything about this episode and we repeated everything from the entire volume so far that we've been saying that we're curious about. So all that's really left to do is watch the next episode and figure out what we learned, what revelations happened, and how much we're on base and how much we're way off in the ballpark.
So. Yeah, next episode we're going to be dealing with Bully Maguire Ruby, Emo Ruby, which is, yeah.
I really hope they kind of bring her character back to that more optimistic side, maybe with a little bit more realistic.
I think she will become optimistic. I think she's going to, I think she'll be reinforced, but she's going to be a little more, I think she's going to be more like,
I don't know what to say.
She's just going to be more refined, is what I'm going to say. She's going to be who she was. Not exactly, but she's going to find a new strength in the purpose.
Her and John accept the fact that their plans will potentially fail, that people will get hurt and die, but what they're fighting for is not wrong.
Oh.
Fighting for the people is not wrong.
Yeah.
And, I can't wait. I really want I want to get through this volume because I'm very interested to see how it ends, but I also want to get back to what's actually happening. Not to bring up a thing that's completely outside of this, but it's like when we're doing D&D and then we're doing these one-shots. It's like, I've enjoyed this one-shot, and I do want to finish it and see it to its conclusion, but I want to get back to
I want to get back to the main plot.
I want to know what's going on there.
So, yeah. So we shall see.
In the next episode.
Yep.
And then the one after that. And then the one after that. We shall have our conclusion.
Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Take care, and I'll see you there in the next episode.
Bye.
Bye-bye.